Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for being with us today. There's so much going on in the world right now and so much going wrong at the same time. We have an out-of-control southern border, a foreign policy from the Biden regime that has just been so unimaginable, inflation through the roof, and an economy that is teetering. The list really just goes on. Not only are we worse off financially now than we were 4 years ago, but we are far less safe as a nation. Iran is funding and sponsoring proxy attacks on Israel each day that goes by, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sit back and wait for it to hit here at home. Anyone who thinks that Iran's ultimate plan isn't to wipe America off the face of the earth is not living in reality right now, and we may be watching it happen right before our very eyes. Our wide open southern border leaves us very vulnerable for anything to happen to us, and it should scare the hell out of each and every one of us. To take up what's happening abroad and right here at home, our guest today is Rob O'Neill. He's a retired Navy SEAL, once serving on the elite SEAL Team 6, which of course conducted the raid on Osama bin Laden and killing him. He's now the host of the Operator podcast. That's available to you wherever you get your podcasts. Rob, thanks so much for joining us here on the Great America Show today. I want to start. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in the world, and nobody knows the world better than you with all the work you've done in the military and then back here at home. We find out last week from an ex-Border Patrol chief that the Harris-Biden administration knowingly allowed terrorists into this country and then told this chief to cover it up. If that's not impeachable and I mean the worst things possible you could have done in this country with everything going on right now, with what we watched happen in Israel on October 7th, I mean, can you tell me anything worse?
Well, that's treason with a capital T right there. They're letting him in. Letting him in is bad. Covering it up is even worse. And then when they get known terrorists in there and they don't have enough room for wherever, they just put them on a plane twice a week and fly them to Texas. And it's disturbing to me in so many ways because I've seen what these I hate saying animals. We talked before the show how we love animals. What these terrorists can do, what they're capable of, and what their mindset is. And I'm just here. I'll let the listener's mind go just wander a little here because I don't want to describe it. But imagine if 4 of these dudes got into your house with your family, you're unarmed, and they're just there. What are they going to do to you? Your alarm's not going off. No one knows you're inside. What are they going to do to your family in front of you? What are they going to make you watch before they get rid of you very, very slowly? And that's what happened on October 7th. And what's worse than that is a lot of the people in this government, I hate to say this government, this machine here, they say, oh, no, those were lies. Didn't happen. No, they didn't do that. I've seen what these people are capable of, and it's horrifying. So for them just to let them cross the border willy-nilly, it's almost like if we could go back to 9/12/2001 and ask New Yorkers, hey, this is going to happen in a couple of decades. There's no way they would allow this in. I can't believe we just got attacked. We're never going to forget. And now we've forgotten. Not only we've forgotten, we lie about it just so someone else can get reelected or newly elected or anything like that. It's disgusting politics. And we're seriously playing with, we've already got people getting raped and murdered and both. And, just towns being taken over simply because some people don't want Donald Trump to show everyone what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, at the debate a few weeks ago, President Trump brought up the incident in Aurora, Colorado with Tren de Agua. And, you've heard from some people, saying that we should, and terrorist organizations perhaps better than anybody, that we should designate these people as terrorist organizations, these cartels, because they're literally governments in themselves, these cartels. I mean, a full structure running government. And the head leader isn't just like, a sitting head president. That's the kingpin killer. I mean, worse than any mob gang we've seen, I think, ever in this country, perhaps in the world. But you had the moderator, and the media is so complicit in all of this. You had the moderator, David Muir, looking at Trump saying, well, that's not true what happened in Aurora, Colorado. There's no gangs. Well, this week, Colorado police named 10 Venezuelan gang members in connection to it from Tren de Agua. Rob, they're taking over our towns, they're taking over our cities, and they have no regard whatsoever. Me and you are both from New York. You go into Manhattan now, and you know what you get.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it everywhere too, and it's these cartels coming in. They're highly organized, but they're extremely brutal. I mean, to the point where it's like you want to watch what you say about them because you don't want to come after you too. Yeah. These are very serious people, but it's almost like, wow, we open the borders and then we defund the police and then crime goes up when we influx with migrants. That's crazy. And I mean, the cartels are in on the border crossings, even to a point where they have their certain territory, which cartel is going to bring people over. And as soon as they start getting them in, they're going to start bringing their leadership in. They're going to start organizing now. Imagine if you live in I mean, even if you cross the border in Mexico and Tijuana, it's huge difference from San Diego to Tijuana. But if you grow up in like a third world country and you're like, wait a minute, I can go to Denver and like take over and live in the United States, and they're going to pay me to do it, and I can bring my family and still rule. And this is what's happened. If I was living like in the mountains of Afghanistan where I've been, and I found out I could come to New York City and I could do anything, anything. Yeah, I'm going to go do it. And it's like, I'm not saying, hey, good on them, but a lot of people got to realize people from different countries are not like us here. They're not going to come here. And I mean, the left doesn't even care about the Constitution, but a lot of these terrorists coming in, a lot of these cartels, they certainly do not care about the Constitution. The only thing, the Constitution that the left wants to bring up is, well, we're going to take your guns. So good. Right. Now we don't have borders. We don't have police, and I don't have any guns. What is that going to do? I mean, the end game for all of this is they want every single one of us to be dependent on the government. They're trying to expand the federal government. And even with the left, I mean, when did everyone start raging for the machine? What are they getting out of it?
It's unbelievable. And we're talking about it at the military scale. You just had a baby in the recent months, in the last year. Your child's going to have to go to school one day. There's a new report out from Chicago that school officials are telling Chicago teachers to pass all migrant students no matter their scores. From a whistleblower. The whistleblower teachers also say that they do not speak Spanish, so they had no effective way to communicate with many of the migrant kids, yet school officials told them to give every migrant at least a 70% grade, according to this whistleblower. So now they're assimilating into, we're going to look at the minor scale now, into everyday life, right? You said they're not like us. They're not. We see these Haitian migrants coming in from Springfield, Ohio, that are eating pets. They're eating ducks. They're apparently eating cats. In their country, that's what they do. I have a friend from South America. They eat guinea pigs. I make fun of them and tell them they eat rats. That's their culture. People down in Florida eat iguanas, and that's Americans.
But, there we go.
It's the assimilation now into everyday life. And what it means when you have, Rob, 20 million, the population of New York is somewhere, I mean, it's fluctuated now since COVID, but somewhere in the range of 20, 21 million people. You now have more than 20 million illegal immigrants in this country who bring kids. And now people forget what happens when you just bring in the migrants. The migrants come in and then they start reproducing and they start having kids and they have 2 kids and they have 3 kids. With birth rates now in America down, I mean, since 1950, where they were at about 25 per thousand people, they're now at about 10 per thousand people. These migrants are going to come in, they're going to start reproducing, and 2 to 3 kids for every half American. People don't realize what it's going to do to our schooling system, what it's going to do to our healthcare system. They want healthcare for all. Forget about it, Rob. What's going to happen to this country on the scale of not even these gangs taking over these cities, but just ordinary, everyday Americans who send their kids to school, who drive on streets? What's going to happen?
Well, you got to see the tactics here are like, well, we don't have enough money. Let's just print more. Oh, you can't have a diploma. Let's just print your diplomas. What's the big deal? We can do it there. And part of the issue too is a lot. I mean, I like to see if I can wear some, put the foot in the other shoe or whatever the hell we like to say, live someone else. A lot of our government is telling these people in different countries, hey, come to the United States, we'll pay for it, and you can work here. That's how they're getting a lot of them here. And once they get here, they realize, oh, there are no jobs. Well, my family's here. I got to do something. And that anything comes with that. Crime, eating animals, robbing people, all that stuff, it can happen. But then, I mean, I've seen it personally going to the emergency room up in New York. I was in the emergency room. I might have been, including the doctors, one of 10 people that spoke English. And I would walk over to, they got like the restaurant there, the sandwich shop. There's languages I didn't even recognize. And I don't know where they're from. And again, they're taking care of their kids too. But they get into the healthcare system. They get into the schooling system. They're in your streets. There are people in their own neighborhoods now in different cities, not just in the border states where it's not safe to drive around their community. People are getting their cars flipped while they're inside of it. So you're inviting chaos, because when it all comes down to it, culture, a lot of cultures are different. And like I said before, coming from extreme poverty into this rich country, you might just run amok. Yeah.
And you know who it's hurting, Robin, a lot of people don't talk about is the blue collar worker, the hardworking American, the Hispanic American, the African American, who go out every day and work their blue collar jobs. But now you have these migrants coming in who are undercutting some of these wages by 20, 30%, and you can't compete. And the thing that's, sticks out to me the most, the Teamsters Union put out their poll this last week where President Trump was absolutely stomping Kamala Harris, yet the coward of the president of the Teamsters who spoke with the RNC wouldn't endorse President Trump. Well, what does he think is going to happen to the unions when you can have workers come in for half the price? Because now, I have friends who work in blue collar jobs and own businesses and hire employees. New York, for example, I mean, the empire of the world is now starting to have non-union companies come in and start doing all their work because it's half the price. Yet this union leader who's, I won't even call him a man, sits back and watches a poll come in from his people that say they support Trump to a tune of like, I don't think it was quite 60-40, 58 or 32 or something like that. But,
yeah.
And doesn't, speak out and say, what the hell are we doing here?
A union's pretty much like any other thing. The leadership, all they care about is their own power. And they know if they keep toeing the party lines that they'll stay in power, and then they'll keep paying their union dues. I'll keep getting my cut. That sort of thing too. The blue collar's getting stomped here, and you got to figure when these migrant families get shipped around the country, what they're bringing with them is also federal housing vouchers, which are worth a lot more than the rent. So what's the landlord going to do? Well, I'm going to make some repairs, so find some temporary living. Oh, by the way, rent just tripled. And your taxpayer dollars are paying for these migrants to live there. The blue collar worker can't afford to live there anymore. What's he going to do? Oh, I better depend on the government. And it all keeps coming back to that. There's a reason for everything. How any blue collar worker can't see what is going on with this economy. And you've got this Harris Biden or Waltz Harris or whatever it is administration and whack-a-diddle-do wife up there screaming, turn the page. It's like, turn what page? We've been on this page for 4 years and it's gotten a lot worse. And that they're even saying, well, inflation's come down. No, it's coming down a little bit from its worst spot ever because of this administration. Right. And yet people just like, well, let me see what's on TikTok for the next 5 hours. It's unbelievable. I think I went to the grocery store the other day. I bought because it's coming. I bought paper towels, toilet paper, maybe some toothpaste, and I'm in the self checkout for 3 items, $45. And I remember looking, I rarely check my was there a mistake? But I'm like, there's got to be no, just really expensive normal stuff.
You should have went into the bathroom of whatever store you're in Target, went to the toilet paper rolls, opened the damn thing. Taken it out and stolen every single toilet paper from the men's room, and you could have went to the ladies' room because we're in an inclusive society, right? Where there's no such thing as a man or a woman. And then you should have went to the dryers on the wall, take them off the wall, and went to your house and installed them in your house. Because you know what would happen when you got home? Absolutely nothing. Because you're allowed to do that, or maybe not because you're American. If you're an illegal, then you're allowed to do that. I want to take a quick break here, Rob. We're going to come back on the other side, continue this conversation, and talk maybe some foreign policy, what's going on over in the Middle East right now.
Absolutely.
A lot going on. We're coming right back with Rob O'Neill. Stay with us. Folks, are you tired of supporting big box stores and multi-billion-dollar corporations that don't support us? Corporations that donate tens of millions of dollars a year to push woke Marxist dem ideologies? Whether it be Amazon and Jeff Bezos or Target with their transgender clothing for kids, or even Bud Light going totally woke, enough is enough. Why should we as lovers of this country continue to support these corporations? The answer is we shouldn't. I constantly get people who reach out to me and ask, John, what can we do to save this country? Where can we shop and support American-made brands and conservative ideologies? Well, we now have a solution to stop shopping at these woke companies and stop funding the deep state, and a solution to buy American. This is something we can all do right now to kick the deep state in the teeth and stop funding our enemies and vote with our dollars. We have a parallel economy for around 450 household products. Not only can you cancel woke brands like Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson, you can also cancel the stores that carry them. I need you all to head over to switchwithjohn.com, that's switchwithjohn.com, where you can read all about our movement. We have access to a conservative manufacturer that will replace these brands and the stores you buy them from. It isn't an additional budget item because instead of turning right into Target or left into Walmart, you're going to shop directly online, directly with the manufacturer. Folks, this is a patriot movement that is happening right now before our eyes. Every 47 seconds, a shopper is switching to our online store, and we need you to partner with us, join us, and band together. I just canceled my Amazon Prime subscription because I've truly had enough. So what do you say? It's time to put your money where your heart is? Join us today and help save this nation. Go to switchwithjohn.com. That's switchwithjohn.com to learn how you can join thousands of other patriots and help take this nation back. SwitchWithJohn.com. We'll see you there. We're back. We're talking with former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill. Rob, a lot going on in the world. I mean, as we all know, last week we had an attack over in Lebanon, Israel, sending a few beepers over to the folks in Hezbollah. The media is not happy with Israel's attack on Hezbollah. What they don't realize is since October 8th, the day after the October 7th attack, Hezbollah sent over 7,500 rockets into Israel. Luckily, a lot of them not striking key landmarks. But how do we have a media, Rob, that's so complicit in just spewing absolute total garbage to these American people when, you have Israel over there who at any day now can be wiped off the face of the earth?
I've been trying to figure that out for a while, too, because the media is definitely in on it. I mean, I know damn well they have meetings every single day at every single building. Here are your talking points. Here's what you will not say. Stuff like, because the people, it's the tip of the pyramid. They've got a lot they've been hiding. And there's got to be some reason they've dehumanized Donald Trump to the point where there's been 2 assassination attempts. We don't really talk about him anymore because they want him gone. But because something will come up, some corruption is going to be uncovered if Donald Trump gets alive. So they're going to keep feeding nonsense to hope that they can sneak Kamala Harris in there to get rid of Donald Trump. I mean, they're trying to put him in jail, keep him off the ballots, try to kill him twice. There's something in there that I can't figure out. But it's on the American people. I don't know what's worse, the fact that the politicians and the media blatantly lie to your face, or half the country believes it. It's so weird. I mean, when guys like you or I step up and say something, they'll cancel us or change it, or obviously misinformation. Our fact checkers looked at this stuff. But I've traveled the world and I've seen a lot of stuff too, and it's amazing that they can say, October 7th didn't happen. No, it didn't happen. Right in front of your face. Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Their hand could be in the cookie jar. Your hand's in the cookie jar. Oh, that's not my hand. These aren't cookies. Literally,
or they'll turn around on us.
It's insanity.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. And, the good thing about us doing these podcasts, and you do a great podcast yourself, the Operator Podcast, we recommend it to everybody. It's a lot more fun than this one. This one's a little more serious. Rob has some more fun. He gets colorful. But they can't cancel us. But it's just mind blowing to me that you have these MSNBCs and CNNs of the world that just can't cover it honestly. Israel's under attack. Did they not have a right to defend themselves? And it's from all quarters, Rob. You have Iran. Hezbollah is a massive proxy from Iran. For people who don't realize, Hezbollah is the most heavily armed non-state actor in the world. By 2023, Hezbollah reportedly had 150,000 rockets and missiles. This isn't some small organization running military operations at facilities in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. We all know. Tell the audience, if you will, Rob, what Yemen is known for.
Well, Yemen's got the Houthi rebels, and they're also funded by the Iranians. The Iranians are behind all of this. Hezbollah is their best. Hezbollah is they're one of the premier fighting forces in the world, and Israel knows when they go in there, they're going to have a rough time again. But this all comes back to Iran, and I would like people to consider Iran started stepping up Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, everything else in all the regions over there right as soon as we delivered billions of dollars of cash to them at nighttime for some reason, and when we lifted the sanctions on them so they can sell their oil to China. They're not helping their people out. They're funding terrorism. And don't forget, Hezbollah, where else are they? Well, they're in this country. They've crossed our borders, and they're here. And don't think they're not. And it's the fact that we can say it doesn't exist, and I don't want to be a fearmonger or a warmonger. I've been to war a whole bunch, and if I could cancel it all right now, believe me, I would. But again, there's those people in power that want to keep their power, and the way you keep people in power is by the powerful people in power is by keeping the serfs in check. And the media is just complicit. I mean, they've always been like this. We just only started finding out when social media got us all closer. And now what I'm finding out is it's a large planet. It's a small world, and I remember back in 2007, I'm watching TV, watching Iraq. 15 hours later, I'm in Iraq. It doesn't take you long to get there. It doesn't take them long to get to us.
Right. Yeah. I hear a lot of people from the left saying, well, what the hell is America doing in Israel? Why are they fighting Israel's war? I mean, well, there's a lot of reasons why we're over there in the first place. One of them, the most important, perhaps, being it's our only safe haven over in the Middle East. Well, before Trump, I mean, maybe now we can consider Egypt one of them. But, it's a very geographically beneficial place to America that we need. That's number one. Number two, what is Iran doing funding everything else? And that's the question I ask these people. Well, yeah, okay, America's funding Israel to protect them. But you got to remember, Iran, the number one sponsor of terrorists right now in this world is sending missiles. I mean, they're behind, like you said, every single thing that's happened. These people in Gaza don't have a damn pot to piss in. These fighters. Where are they getting the resources from, Rob?
The resources are coming from a lot of humanitarian aid BS, and we're sending them a bunch. Even Israel.
I mean the military. The
Hamas military.
Yeah,
they're taking it from humanitarian aid. None of that's getting to the people. The Iranians are funding it, and then places like the UN are funding it. The Red Crescent, they're helping out. They're all complicit because they've been taught since they were little that Israel needs to get wiped off the face of the earth. And that's like, even when we try to broker these BS peaceful nuclear deals with Iran, we'll know when if they get a nuclear weapon, because Tel Aviv might be gone. There is no peaceful power going on here. And it's all because Israel, it gets biblical and stuff like that. But we need to defend Israel because there are actually two countries right now in between global dominance of the worst kind. That's Israel and America. And we've got to support them. And yet still we got half of the country that doesn't want to do it. And then not only don't want to do it, they're turning around. I didn't think I would ever see a day when, again, we're chasing after Jews. Like, what is this? What is the anti-Semitism? Why aren't Jewish students able to walk around campus wearing a Star of David without fear of being attacked? And it's all the same thing. It's all the same rhetoric. It's all the, I mean, we can go on and on how it's back in the day with the communism and how they wanted to infiltrate our schools, our entertainment. They're getting into our military, our hierarchy. They're on Capitol Hill, all that stuff too. And it's just scary when the political points become a harsh reality, and we're so close right now. That next attack in this country, and I don't mean just an assassination attempt. And how about that? Just being able to say, and I don't just mean there's been two assassination attempts. When the next major attack comes, when they wipe out a grid or we get hit by an electromagnetic pulse, and all of a sudden nothing you have works. I mean, I know you used to have TikTok, but now that your phone's down, can you make a fire and find water?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm so against war and everything. Since President Trump, I mean, before President Trump came in, I think maybe you're an exception because, this is where you come from. This is what you know best. But, I'm so against it. Before President Trump came in, I said, oh, maybe, we need to be here. Maybe we need to be there. But since him, coming in and shedding the light on, just what war does, I'm so against it. But with people like Iran, I mean, in your best judgment, what do you do with them? Do you sit back and do you wait? And I know, giving them $7 billion in cash doesn't really help the cause. But what do you do? I mean, do you sit back here and wait? Do you wait for them to do another proxy attack? Do you wait for them to hit us here at home?
No, you got to get to the people. The Iranian people are great. It's the regime that's horrible.
Right.
You got to get to the people, and the only way you're going to beat a lot of these groups is from within. So you need to get some of our special agencies, and we do have really good people out there doing it. You got to get in there, infiltrate, and it's got to be a coup from the inside. And I mean, obviously, we had a coup in this country. No one really did anything about it. But the problem is, it's happened in Iran before, where they start to rise up against the mullahs. All of a sudden, our media shuts it down, so no one knows, and then they start executing people. And that's the same way you can beat Hamas. I mean, they elected Hamas in 2005. That's like, but at some point the people got to get sick of them. But I mean, with some of these weak Western governments, you'll see people escape places like Syria and go to Europe, and then Sharia law just follows them. Like the people got to do something. You can't just sit on your hands and hopefully tomorrow's better. Something's got to be done, but you can't wait for Iran to get a nuclear weapon, because if one nuclear missile gets launched in this world, I think that's the end of times, because everyone else is going to start launching. And by the way, it's not just nuclear weapons. Those are the most powerful things we had in the 50s. You should see the stuff we have now.
Yeah. And like you said, all it takes is one, and it takes one for anything. It takes one missile. It takes one migrant. It's just one, and that can, one person can do a lot of damn damage.
It takes one dude who wants to be a martyr to get strapped with a dirty bomb and go to Times Square. That's what it takes.
And these guys don't care.
One guy that, hey, inject me with smallpox. I got a few weeks to kill a whole bunch of people in the United States. That kind of stuff. Or we can just drive by with this vehicle and microwave buildings, which they have the capability of doing. Very scary stuff. Yeah. But again, what are the Kardashians up to?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to take one more quick break here, Rob. When we come back, I want to talk some politics. You said the President Trump assassination attempt. 95% of major media network had negative coverage on the second assassination attempt. I mean, this has become, like we said, normalized. We're going to take a quick break and take that up on the other side of this break. Talking with former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill. We're coming right back.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
We're back with Rob O'Neill, SEAL Team 6, famously known for the raid on Osama bin Laden and killing him. Rob, President Trump was at the Jewish Coalition in D.C. last week, telling Jewish voters they need to do better. Given they need more, he needs more than 40% of the Jewish vote to get in. I mean, if you look at his track record of everything he's done, if he wasn't president, I think from 2016 to 2020, you'd have seen this whole Israel thing, I think, backfire a lot sooner and maybe not even be here today. You look at the Abraham Accords and now how crucial they are right now in everything that's going on. Without those Abraham Accords right now, I think you can also make the case that Israel could have been wiped off the face of the earth by any of those countries that have been signing those accords right now. What do you say to those, Jewish voters who are considering or voting for Kamala Harris? How?
Well, I would say to just do a little back research on what the Abraham Accords were. All the hard work Jared Kushner did to get them done, and President Trump authorized them. They were doing stuff over there in the Middle East. That's the closest I think we've been to peace over there, at least as far as Israel is concerned. And what that would do is flourish. You got flights going from Israel over to over countries they've never flown over before, meeting with people they've never met before. Even though, I mean, publicly doing that, and it's a peaceful way to get through with it. And it's Donald Trump doing it. He's lessening the war. He's increasing friendships between Saudi Arabia, Israel, places like that. And a friendship between Saudi Arabia and Israel would really deter Iran. And that would, again, help with the people rise up against the mullahs, get them out of there. That's the way to do it. But then the Democrats roll in, start feeding money and feeding all this crap and media attention away from that, saying Israel's bad. I'm amazed that even with President Trump speaking to the Jewish Coalition and saying he needs more than 40%, the headlines in a lot of papers were, Trump says if he loses, he's going to blame Jews. It's like,
of course.
What kind of a spin is that? It's ridiculous. I mean, it is, again, why are they just anti-Israel, a lot of these Jewish voters? I don't know what it is that they are so in love with the Democrats for. There's always more to it than meets the eye. What's going on behind the scenes and why? But again, open your eyes and see what's happening. And like a prime example too is trans for queers for Palestine. Yeah. If they went over there for a day, they wouldn't last. And I just don't know I don't know where these people are getting their information and why they're believing it.
And like we discussed, his speech to the coalition comes, just days after the walkie-talkie attack. Well, first it was the beeper attack, and then the next day I think they hit the walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
What's next? I mean, what's Israel's next move? Are they going for cars?
Well, you got to figure what they're doing here is this is like a very sophisticated preemptive strike. They're going north. They're going to hit Hezbollah. They're coming in, and they knew there was a shipment of pagers going in because they knew Hezbollah knew they were tracking their cell phones. So they interrupted their supply line, which is great because that means there's collaborators inside somewhere. Then they rigged all of them with Petin, which is very complicated. That many hundreds, and then they set them to go off at the same time, and then the explosion goes off a few seconds later, knowing these dudes will grab the pager off their belt, stare at it, boom. That's when it goes off.
my-
That's brilliant. And it was so smart. They also knew that they're not using their phones. Now they're going to go to pagers. They blow up. Okay, we got to go to the walkie-talkies. We've given those to a few people. Those blow up. I guarantee right now there's some Hezbollah leader in his bathroom staring at his electric toothbrushes. Should I?
It's unbelievable. There's a movie with Gerard Butler I mentioned the other day, Law Abiding Citizen, where he's just he's blowing crap up from his jail cell. It almost feels like this. And, like we said, the media coverage on this is more detrimental than it was on October 7th when Israel got invaded in the first place. I don't even understand how we get to this point. But, we spoke about the Trump assassination attempt. When you have something like that happening at home that's now become normalized, 95%, this according to the Media Research Center, who does a great job at holding the media accountable and all the bad stuff they do to us, 95% of major network coverage of Trump was negative after the second assassination attempt. How has this become something normal now, Rob? Within 2 months, we have 2 attempts at the assassination of a president, both within 500 yards. You know very well what an easy shot is. Everyone has told me 500 yards is, that's a cakewalk. You had this guy, Cooks, on the roof, 500 yards, and I think he just had a red dot sight, nothing crazy, and missed. I mean, he actually hit, but, unbelievable.
Yeah, that's 140 yards. That's a nothing shot. That's a layup. I could teach my kids how to do that. Right. And so, I mean, I like to keep stuff simple. It's either incompetence or an inside job. They're both bad. Private security is the way out for this, no doubt about it. Myself and 8 other guys could easily handle this. And then you got a dude getting into a bush for 12 hours. They didn't even check the perimeter. What's going on here, guys? And then, I mean, the thing that bothers me too is they're saying, yeah, but then the Secret Service did a phenomenal job. Hey, newsflash. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Catastrophically failed. And then who's this Ryan Ruth guy? I mean, he comes out of nowhere. Here's a guy he's been Citizen of the Year in newspaper since the 90s. He's got a horse living in his house, no money, over 100 felonies or something like that. Yeah. He vanishes for 3 years at a time. He goes to Ukraine, lives in the barracks for 90 days. He's recruiting Islamic jihadists to fight the Russians. And then he comes over here, doesn't necessarily get a shot off, but he's that close to the president. Then he smirks in his mugshot, probably not going to serve a day. Who's this guy, by the way? How did he get there? The FBI, the DHS, and the State Department were tracking this guy. Didn't do a damn thing. Why? That's an inside job. There's a mole or a mole somewhere. They do not want Trump to be in office.
And the sad thing about it is, and it's a good in a way, and I mean good in every way, I should say, that if this is inside jobs, I mean, how incompetent is our CIA that they want to take this man out and they can't seem to do it now? We trust these people to go out on the world stage and defend us. And they're sitting here trying to kill a president. It's what it seems like when you've got 2 of these people with one of them a very checkered past, one with no past at all, which I think is probably more concerning than the man with the checkered past, because we at least know that he was on their radar and they, let it go. But that's That's another thing that's normal now. We had the school shooter down in Georgia a few weeks ago, and the FBI met with the kid years ago, and they released the recording, and the FBI agent said, "Did you threaten to shoot up that school or kill anybody in your class?" And he goes, "No, I never said that." And the agent goes, "Okay, well, I believe you." I mean, that's what I got pulled over one time, Rob, in Mexico, and I don't endorse drinking and driving, but I had a beer or two, and we got pulled over by the Mexican government, the police, and they looked at me and my buddy, and they go, "Are you guys drinking tonight?" And we go, "No, we didn't drink at all." And the cop looks at me and goes, "Well, we believe you." And we went our way. I mean, it's become so friggin' stupid that we've got to this point in the first place. And talk about being complicit. Ron DeSantis on Fox News this week says that the FBI won't cooperate with his state's investigation into the second attempt, not letting them access the golf course to investigate. Why would the FBI be doing that? Why would they be blocking Florida from getting to the bottom of what happened and how we could prevent this from happening now a third time?
This would be a question for them. I've worked with the FBI personally and the CIA personally, and they have got some very, very good people there. The issue is when you get up to the leadership level, it's that deep state level. It's the same thing with the military. You make your 4-star, then you go work for Raytheon. Your interests are in your pocket. They're very capable. They know what's going on, but it's. Did
you mention Lindsey Graham there, by the way?
Did I do what?
Did you mention Lindsey Graham? I heard you say they're looking for their next job and go to Raytheon.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, Lindsey Graham, he's got a cush job now. He's making millions of dollars on whatever. Notice he blames Iran for everything because he wants to go to war with Iran. His pockets are lined if we go to war with Iran or China. He loves that stuff. That's the deep state type stuff. There term limits, minimum 7 years before you leave the military to work for a contractor, and then move the CIA and the FBI out of the DC area, move them to Florida and Texas so you can't be around those scummy ass lobbyists.
Yep. And it's simple things like that, Rob, that would fix the whole problem. That stock trading is a huge issue. You had mentioned Raytheon. All these people are in massive military defense. You look at defense contract stocks over the last 3 months. Now, we have a fight that's coming up in 10 days from now, 7 to 10 days from now, on a budget, right? And what's usually the biggest part of the budget? It's the military spending. You look at some of these stocks now, performance over the last 3 months that they know a budget's coming. And I mean, they are through the roof. Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, all through the roof. And these people are in such a rush, and they want to get this damn thing funded. Not a clean bill, not a clean funding of the government. They want to get it through so that these people can make their money and then sell their stocks. The simplest thing of just banning single stocks. You don't have to. You can let them trade ETFs, as clumps, but single stocks. Because these people are trading in things we've never heard of before, Rob. Companies that we've never even knew existed. And they're trading in stocks, making millions of dollars while sitting in Congress. And they're the same people that are influencing our national security. How does that make any sense?
I mean, the first thing they need to do is stop calling themselves public servants. That's nonsense right there. They shouldn't be trading anything anyway. That's total insider trading.
We're the public servants, Rob.
But they didn't pay us anything. And they, I'm assuming that Bin Laden check got lost in the mail too.
Yeah, of course.
But the Pentagon, they've never passed an audit either. I was talking to my friend Tim Kennedy the other day, and he works sometimes at the Pentagon. He's amazed walking through the halls, the stuff that's going on. We need guys like Elon Musk to go in there, gut 80% of that stuff too. And again, too, I love how they say, well, what if the government shuts down? Let it. Good. Go away. Let's try that for a year. I'll take a year off of paying taxes. Let's try that.
Yep. You mentioned Elon Musk, and you're quite the Twitter troll yourself. Elon Musk is going after Gavin Newsom. For anyone who missed it, Gavin Newsom signed a law into a place last week. It's Assembly Bill 2839. Goes into effect immediately. It makes it illegal to distribute, quote, materially deceptive audio or video media of a candidate 120 days before election or 60 days after. It's unbelievable. I mean, I would say probably 90% of comedy is made up, right? It's stories that these comedians tell that are just made up. AI and memes, made up, right? It's a parody. This idiot Gavin Newsom's got one of probably the dumpiest states in the world, and it's the most beautiful state in the country. California is the most beautiful state in the country. But what they've done to that damn country, Rob, I have a friend who lives in Santa Monica who goes to Gold's Gym every day. And he sends me videos every day in his back alley where he lives. And he lives in a very nice apartment complex on the beach. People peeing in it, someone's car getting robbed every day. He walks past a homeless encampment. Rob, on the telephone poles, they have spice racks set up. I mean, it's unbelievable what that man has done to that state and allowed to happen in that state and the crime to flourish in that state. And he's worried about Elon Musk putting out memes? Is this a joke?
He's just distracting people. You know what's scary, too? Again, talking about the people voting for the wrong reason. He's running in 28, and he's going to get a lot of votes. You know why? And I'm not making this up, because a lot of female voters are going to say, but look how good looking he is.
Yeah.
What? It's like, let's just hit the glass ceiling and turn the page, and first female president. He's like, it's like when you get horrible leadership in charge, and this California for a while, look what it can do to a beautiful state. Here's another example. You know what could be beautiful? No kidding. The Gaza Strip. But you got really bad leadership there. It's beautiful over there, except for, the bombs and the terrorists. But if you get rid of the bad leadership, and not to be so pessimistic, what I've found in my travels over 17 years in the Navy, most people just want to get on with their lives and have a good family. And that's the truth. A lot of this distraction and stuff is coming from the people who want to stay in power. I mean, prime example, there's a lot of stuff going on overseas. If you want to scare yourself, see who the one of the largest property owners of land in Ukraine is. You're going to find BlackRock all over that. And, why not? Why wouldn't they? Because they're running everything else.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned overseas. You look at back here at home when interest rates are low. Look what BlackRock did. They went into cities. They bought up all the real estate. They bought up low-income housing. And they're pushing people out of the cities, middle-income families. What people don't realize is, Rob, we're from New York. New York and California, people, you have to make a livable wage. I was telling someone the other day, I think the median household income across America is like 50 grand or 60 grand, something like that. And that's, throughout the country, which in New York on $60,000 a year with a family, you cannot live. It's hard to even live as a single person in New York without having a roommate or anything like that on $60,000 a year. And you have BlackRock coming in here and buying up properties. It's just corruption, Rob, across the board. Politicians involved. Everyone's getting their kickbacks. Everyone's getting paid for it. I want to wrap up with someone that everyone loves to hate, and I'm no fan of her. Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris, signing the message as a cat lady, whatever that means. I guess it's maybe a dig at the Springfield, Ohio, or maybe J.D. Vance saying the voters are single cat ladies. But a New York Times poll, and Nate Silver of 538 says the New York Times is the gold standard for polling this election, which they're not. They were in 2020, they missed states by 11, 12%. That's just a fact. They released a poll last week showing that 47% of respondents had a favorable view of Donald Trump, while only 44% had one of Taylor Swift. Donald Trump is more popular than Taylor Swift. What do you say?
Taylor Swift getting involved again. I don't. She's just got legions of fans, and the left knows it. And she's so deep in her own bubble that she doesn't really realize what reality is. I mean, she probably flies a private jet to get to the other side of her private jet. Right. It's just she's fantasy land. And I personally don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. She's very talented, but her character comes in where someone like Toby Keith brings her into Nashville. He dies, doesn't get mentioned by her. It's like it's just messed up, and she shows you, she's ruined the NFL.
Yeah. You can't watch a damn Chiefs games without panning to her. I'm so glad to see that.
As if you didn't have enough reasons to hate the Chiefs. Now you bring her in. Come on, man.
And enough reasons to hate the NFL.
Take away my Redskins, and then you bring her to the Chiefs. I'm just going to say I'm offended by the Chiefs name. Get rid of that.
I'm a Giants fan. I wish we would get rid of the Chiefs altogether. The Chiefs and the Redskins altogether, man. We're having a rough season, but it comes to show you in America. I don't think the Taylor Swift endorsement means anything for any voters with a brain, because nobody gives a damn what she has to say. These people Rob, are all hypocrites. They care about global warming. They jump on their private jet and they go jet off to Europe and then Australia and here and there. And their excuse is, well, I can't go on public airfare because, I'll get attacked or people will be there. It used to be airports were the most secure places in the world. So, you can't even go to a grocery store.
They're flying their private jets, and they got us in New York using the 1975 paper bags now at the grocery stores. Like, what? This is ridiculous. And they're paying for them. Oh yeah, that's what they ask you. Do you need a bag? I'm like, I have 37 items. Well, they're 5 cents a bag. Of course they are. How much do migrants pay for these bags?
No, well, I told you, Rob. Next time you go for toilet paper, you go in that damn toilet and you steal it. But you know what? We're Americans, so we'll probably get arrested for it and get booked through the system.
I'm a straight married tax-paying white guy. I'm definitely getting in trouble.
Rob O'Neill, you're a great American. Let the audience know where they can follow you and where they can listen to your podcast.
Yeah, so the podcast is everywhere. It's called The Operator, and I'm the host, Robert O'Neill. And look for me on social media at Mchooyah. That's Mchooyah. That's a different story, but it's pronounced Mchooyah. MC Hooyah works too, but I'm there on social media. And if you want to some good points, but some tongue-in-cheek comedy, just follow me. It's a good time.
It's worth it. And Rob better never go to California, because Gavin Newsom Rob will have a target on his back. No pun intended. From Gavin Newsom for what that idiot has done in that state. It's unbelievable. But we recommend both to you highly. Rob's tweets are hysterical, and the podcast it's a little detachment from reality. It's more fun and relaxing, and you can take a break. Rob, thanks so much for being with us today.
Anytime. Hit me up anytime.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Please be sure to join us back here tomorrow for the Great America Show as our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. Please be sure to follow me on Twitter at John Fawcett NY, John Fawcett NY, and on Truth Social at John Fawcett. Shoot me a tweet. Let me know what you want to hear more of on this show, and shoot us an email, info@loudobbs.com. That's info@loudobbs.com. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. What you want to hear more of on the show, what you want to hear less of, guests, ideas, anything. Shoot us an email. Shoot us a tweet. See you back here tomorrow. May God bless you. May God bless America. May God bless the great Lou Dobbs.